Hey there, everybody. It's Mondo, and it's fucking Wednesday, the 31st of August, on our way to September. That's right. It is all about the metal. It's totally about the metal. And I hope you understand that in your heart. If you don't, well, I don't know, there might be some other things available to you that are more helpful. I don't know, maybe whatever you think is, right? This is Sawmere, called White. About 9 years old. Great tune. So there we have it. Now, today, I realized it was, I've known this for a few months. It's going to be August 31st, and today is August 31st. And of course, every September, I've made it a tradition. I play the Earth, Wind, and Fire song, September. I listen to it, several versions of it, because I can't get enough of it. So tomorrow I'll put that on, not today. Tomorrow. Everyone, I'm glad you're joining me. We've got a lot of shit to talk about tonight. I had to pour myself a whiskey sour to get through it. First item. Insane fucking piece of shit orange pus bag. That's right, otherwise known as Donald Trump. Look at what the scumbag's behavior has been. Now, I have a lot of these. Well, I don't have very many because I don't converse with them very far. I don't get very tight in the discussion with them. These I don't know if you can call them right wing. I just call them idiots. They're Trump suckers. They're Trump worshippers. They think the ground that he walks on, they think the sun rises and sets at the crack of his ass. And you know what? I've never thought that. I never liked the son of a bitch. I read his book, realized it was ghost written, saw that it was, it was a cool business thing at the time because I was more, into the right-wing corporate paradigm. I'm totally not into that paradigm now, and it was only a temporary visit for me. No, Trump is a piece of shit. He's always been a piece of shit. You poor bastards that voted for him, I feel sorry for some people because they're just gullible and they got taken in by the reality TV show bullshit. This guy he's weak. He's not a bully who can back up his shit physically. He got his ass beat. I mean, there was a story that he got taken down by a guy that was 4'11". Taken down! And then he pulled all that WWE shit. There's a lot of shit that happens on WWE. Now, I watch WWE. I watch all the pay-per-views. I watch AEW. I'm a wrestling fan. I like it. It's great entertainment. It's entertainment. It's scripted. It's out in the open now. They used to try to kind of hide it, 40 years ago, but they don't now. And it's good because I love these shows. And sometimes most of the time who's going to win, and you know why, and blah, blah, blah. You even know what some of these people are going to do when they pull their moves. So right now, things are in a lot of flux. I want to say one thing for sure, because the WWE, because of Vince McMahon, had lost me. I'm just a fan, and I'm a fan who reignited his interest about, not even 2 years ago. And the person that helped me do it was a former wrestler who, unfortunately, died of a drug overdose. I feel really bad about that, because I really liked this guy. He was a good guy, and he helped me out around my house and shit like that. And I recorded his podcast for him and got it up online. And I'm going to put this on his podcast, which is Two Stone Dudes. It's also going to go on the Mondo Homunculero podcast. Yeah, I'm excited about this. In this country right now, people are saying, it's never been like that. Shit. Where were you in the 60s and the early 70s? It was like this all the way through the mid 60s to the early 70s. It was like this. It was really bad. And these right-wing fucks, there weren't as many Vietnam vets that had joined their ranks as there have now. Because most of the old, I hate to say that they're in my generation, but a lot of them are in my generation. And I'm kind of sad that they didn't get what the support they thought they were going to get when they came home, because they weren't heroes. And a lot of them knew that, and a lot of them knew what was going on over there. And a lot of them still had that rah-rah, oh God, I'm glad Nixon's president. Boy, was I ever glad he was gone? Were you? That doesn't mean I'm a big pro-Democrat. Unfortunately, I vote for the lesser of two evils these days. I'm sad to admit that. I'm not really a card-carrying Democrat. I am DSA, which is part of the Democratic Party. However, it's the only part that's worth a shit, that and the Progressive Caucus. The rest of them, keep them. So the orange puss bag is now up in arms because he got raided. He didn't get raided, he had a search warrant served. He got searched and seized. That's what happened to the fucker, and it was all legal, and it was all FBI, and his sycophants are all trying to paint it like, oh, poor Donald Trump, and, you know, they raided me, and they tore apart my stuff, and they took my stuff. It wasn't your stuff, man. Yeah, there was maybe some Time magazine covers and photos of you and your friends, which you should have kept, which you could have kept if you'd have done this right before you left the White House. What an asshole. And the archives people asked you for the information for the folders and the boxes several times, all the papers. They ask you for all that. Come to find out, they found a bunch of top secret documents in the first batch from January of this year, and then the second batch had a bunch. And he's upset. They're not his. This is not his country. This is, I don't even like when he says our country, because he doesn't mean the majority of us, our country. He would like to include the majority of us, and the poor fools who he conned into voting for him twice. Oh, gosh, did you ever make a mistake? You know, it's like I woke up that first Tuesday morning, or Wednesday morning, after the horrific Tuesday in 2016, and I just couldn't believe it. I was horrified. And people I know a bunch of fuckers that think Trump is good. See, they want to vote for anybody who's a businessman, because their view of the world is that business should run the world, that business people make the best public servants. No, they don't. They don't serve the public for the most part. There are some that do. Mostly, they serve private interests, their private interests. I don't want them in charge of administering and legislating our government. I don't want it. Do you? Do you want somebody like that who doesn't have your best interests at heart, who doesn't even care about your best interests, who only has their best financial interests at heart? Excuse me. Do you want somebody like that running the country? Do you want them making the laws, putting the laws into place? You want somebody? I don't want anybody like that. No. I want somebody who honestly wants to serve, and to serve in the best interests of the majority of us. I don't mean 51%. I mean the majority of us. Most of the things all of us really want are above 60%. Now, there's some people who are not going to be for anything. They don't give a shit. They don't even care if they shit the bed as long as the plastic's down. What a bunch of fucking assholes. And that's right, we have a bunch of fucking assholes in this country. That's why it's very difficult, sometimes on a minute-by-minute basis, usually on a daily basis, for me not to go total misanthrope again. Because I don't see all these great things that humanity has done for the rest of our biological systems. I don't think we're a big boon to the biome. Now, there are some that are. Yeah, there's millions that are, but there's hundreds of millions that are not. And that's why this part of the biota is on its way out, dude. Oh, yeah, you can argue with me. Well, it's not going to come in your lifetime. Okay, I can accept that. But I don't want it to be in any of our lifetimes. And especially people are going to be born as the shit starts to hit the fan. I don't want it in their lifetimes. Do you? Do you want that shit? And you know what I'm talking about. The ocean's going to rise several feet, so a lot of places are going to be underwater. Let's hope that those of you who are around for that, and that's going to be over the next 20 years probably, better get ready and you better move away from the coast. Now, what if the 100-inch rain happens in California? What's going to happen there? Yeah. You're going to move over here, God damn it. Well, maybe most of them will move to Nevada and Wyoming, and they can move to those places. It's ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous. And yeah, I don't drink hardly at all, okay? The last drink I had was a half a glass of wine about 2 weeks ago. This is a whiskey sour, and I made it, according to my taste, and I love it. Tastes great. Anyway, so just so you know it, and I've already had my other medicine for my arthritis. Yeah, this is great, isn't it? This is ripping. Tell you what, my Sonos audio system is killer. I love it. It's killer. So, the orange pus bag. Now, now here's the whole thing. A lot of people have gotten real antsy over Merrick Garland and the DOJ getting after this bastard. Well, he's not the easiest son of a bitch in the world to get after. You just can't go grab him and say, "We know you did this. Here's a half a box full of evidence." No, you got to have boxes full of evidence on this prick, and you've got to make sure that he doesn't hire the worst shyster fucking type attorney there is. He doesn't have the worst solicitor in the world. Okay, I'm gonna get British for a second. I still don't know. Well, I'll have to look it up. Just was very curious why they call their attorneys, their lawyers, solicitors. I'll have to look that up. And it's a much older, much antecedent term versus what we use. So you guys that like Trump, you know, most of you, 99.9% of you, or 99%, maybe 0.01% of you are going to see this and listen to it. Now, I know something here, and you should know this because it's been out there for years. This guy has stiffed his contractors. He stiffed his workers. He stiffed his fellow investors. Look what he did with Trump U. He had to pay a $25 million fine for the fraud that he committed there. Most of his businesses failed. He's a piece of shit. And he doesn't care about who he screws. He doesn't care about who he rips off or how he does it. Right now he's got over $100 million in his political bank account that he's no doubt using some of to pay his bills, I would bet. You know, and then he replenishes with his weekly donations. That's why he keeps asking you for a few bucks in your email every week. Or if you're on that poor excuse for social media that he owns or did own. Don't get fooled by him. He's not even a good fascist. He's not nearly as powerful as Mussolini was, who was, in the end, a huge failure, or Hitler, who was a success until, the last couple of years. So he's not even a good fascist like those guys were. Or actually, who's the most successful one of them? Franco. Yeah, Franco was a military fascist. He went till he died, and then he ushered in a new government. And so there's some people in Spain who would argue that what he did for Spain was stabilize it and make it so they could have a constitutional government, which they have now. And the king is, I don't know if they have the king anymore. Maybe they got rid of the king. They had a king for a while. And he was more like a British monarch. Excuse me. Yeah. The hell with these guys. All this shit. Okay, now, here's one assumption that a lot of people make when I start ripping Trump. They assume that I am a Biden supporter. Nothing could be further than the truth. True, I've done some things he has done. The main thing I like that he represents to me, he's not Trump. He's a danger, just like Trump is, in that way that politicians are dangerous. He's much less of a danger than Trump is. And he called the sons of bitches for what they are. Well, he was a little mild. You know, what did he call them? Semi-fascists? Well, I've been calling them pseudo-fascists for a long time. They call them quasi-fascists, because that's really what they are. They're not real fascists with an organized big movement. No, they're just this fucking gamish of Trump suckers, some of whom are organized in small pockets, most of whom are just, gut worshipping, hero worshipping this prick. And I tell you what, I have liked some people that, wound up in prison. I have to be honest about it. That doesn't mean though that I'm like that today. Today I'm a much better judge of character. And with Trump, it's about what character? Oh, he's a real character, all right. Yo ho ho ho. He's not funny to me. I think he's a cynical, backstreet piece of shit fuck from the Bronx. Or is he from Queens? Yeah, he's from Queens. Fuck him. Fuck him. You know what? If he'd have been in my neighborhood, he'd never get away with his mouth. His ass would have got beaten on a regular basis. Now, I grew up in Phoenix. And maybe we weren't the toughest, meanest, most homicidal neighborhood. We didn't put up with shit. That's what happened in my neighborhood. Yeah. Now, I really have to move away from that because I start feeling that way when I think of Trump and some of these idiots. I can't believe, forget which pundit it was that I was watching today. And it was it's this one dude who was critiquing Trump supporters. And he had them on, and there were these very militant, older, looked like Vietnam vets, older guys, my age, maybe older, saying, there's 50 million of us, we're going to mobilize, and we're going to stop this shit, we're going to kill these fuckers. That's what he said. Well, you know what's going to happen to those guys? First of all, 95% of them or more are not going to do anything. What? Except shoot their mouths off and hope they inspire some younger, less intelligent people to do their dirty work. Look what happened in Cincinnati. That's what's going to happen to you guys. You think you guys got all these guns and firepower and you can just take out any... Okay, you might be able to take out a few places, but let me tell you this. When the fucking Rangers, when the Marines... Yeah, let's keep going. When the special ops motherfuckers... When all these fuckers get after you, you're fucking dead. You're going to be dead. They're going to kill you. You're going to get killed like that fucker did from Cincinnati, right? He got killed. And the FBI didn't kill him. You know who killed him? Law enforcement. Local law enforcement killed that guy. And that's what's going to happen to you fucks. You're going to get shot. If it goes to that, you're going to get shot. And most of you are going to get killed. Remember what happened to the Confederacy in the Civil War. Many more of them got killed than the Federalists. Yeah, that's right. Many more. And many more would have gotten killed if they hadn't liberated so many of them. I mean, a lot of people died in the prisons, man. They didn't have any health care. They barely got to eat. They fucking died. Guys had gangrene. They died from blood poisoning. A lot of that happened. If they got a sickness like a flu or a bad cold, they died. That's what happened. People are so stupid. They think, well, God, it's never been this bad. Hey, I got a book. I have a book that I have been reading. It's called Killing Congress. And, it brings up the one from 1859 where the Sumner incident. Yeah, the guy got caned almost to death by this fellow congressman. Most of the other people sat around and watched. So and stuff like that used to always happen. I don't give a shit. It happened. America is not this big peace-loving mecca. It never has been. Not that what it is good. I'm not telling you that, but I'm just saying you got to wake up. This has always been an ultra-violent society. When I grew up, it was, I wouldn't say ultra-violent, but it was violent. A lot of the time. Yeah, I mean, nobody really got killed. A few people got shot, stabbed, beaten. A lot of that happened. I didn't get any of it, and I wasn't one of them that did it. I stayed out of it because I learned early on that one of the worst places for me to be is in jail. But there's guys that don't care. They'll go to jail. They'll go right to jail. They don't care. Oh, hell, I can do that. Hey, well, they got 3 hots in the cots, and they got somebody to play cards with. Watch shitty TV. Yeah, right? No, I don't like jail. I never did. I'm not going back. I heard one of my favorite terms from the last 7 or 8 years regarding alt-right, Trump-sucking, pseudo-Nazi pieces of shit. Regarding them, hunting season. I even made a meme that had a bounty for Trump suckers, and it had a picture of a troll on it. Yeah, a bounty. Open season on Trump suckers. That's what I call them. I don't call them supporters. I don't call them people who voted for Trump. They're Trump suckers. They got suckered by Trump. Right? And you can take it to another extreme, which is not the one that I intended. So leave that one to your imagination. At any rate, this is my rant today. And what I'm telling you is that you've got to get off the Trump train, because it's a fucking hellbound train. It's not even a good hellbound train. No, it's not. You guys, you old bastards that came back from Nam and you were disgruntled, I know how you feel. It wasn't me. I was one of the ones going, dude, join us. Come on, let's go. Let's march. Let's get this shit taken care of. Well, we got part of the way. The military did get reformed a little bit, damn little bit. That happened, and that's what should have been in your case. I mean, yeah, if you had a brain left, you could go to, you could go to school. You could get your GI Bill and go to school. If you had half a brain left. Well, a lot of you guys don't have any brains left. I mean, you came back, you had to get off heroin. So what did you do when you got here? You started drinking, smoking weed. Maybe some of you guys went on to school, became PhDs, or doctors, and lawyers, and everything else. Some of you guys did that. Some of you people did that. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about these miscreants, these poor bastards with beards. They make me ashamed to have a beard. I see these guys. I'm like, where do you get off trying to look like some son of a bitch who couldn't make it as a hippie? Which is really kind of the truth. They kind of wanted to be, I remember them, okay? They kind of wanted to be part of the hippie movement. Well, let me tell you, by the time they got back from Vietnam, unless it was in 68, the hippie movement was officially dead. Yeah, you could call yourself a hippie, but you weren't part of the movement. You might have been a former member of the movement, which more so would you say that hippie is dead. I just really, and then hippie became this derogatory term for people who are dirty and have crabs and head lice and, got all kinds of diseases and that drug addict. Actually, there was a whole bunch of people who wanted to be or were hippies and weren't like that at all. Yeah. So, labels. Labels are a bad thing. That's why I don't call these guys Nazis, because they don't belong to the American or any other so-named Nazi party. Maybe a few of them do, but most of them don't belong to the Nazi party. So they're not Nazis. Fascists, well, yeah. You can go down the list. I don't care who made the list, who spelled out the qualifications. Yeah, it's fascist behavior. Small f fascists like Mussolini. That's what they're like. They want their great leader, the authoritarian of the decade, the orange pus bag, They want him to run the show, right? Or as like Malloy likes to call him, Orange Vomit. That's a really good one, Mike Malloy. Yeah. However, I like mine better, Orange Pus Bag, because he never stops oozing and stinking like some kind of an untended boil on society. And you know what? We caused him. We gave him the attention and the power. And he was very slick. He learned from Roy Cohn. And that's where he got his approach to avoiding justice. So you got all day to wake up if you want to. Probably won't. And when you hear an old lefty like me, and I really am lefty, I'm left-handed, see? I'm a real lefty. I don't play guitar left-handed. And I batted right-handed when I played softball. But here's the deal. I switched back over to what I was supposed to be, was left-handed. I hit the ball over the fence. Yeah. So, and then we had the TYT. We had Cenk and Anna arguing who's left, who's not left. Well, I'm going to tell you who's not left. Probably the vast majority of the people who are called left by the extreme right. Yeah, they're the radical left. No, I'm one of the radical left. There are many of us. There's many old-timers like me, older than me. Radical left. Always was. Maybe some of us ducked into a comfortable existence, being part of the capitalist nightmare, which I was and am still. It's actually the best retirement you could think of when you look at it from my point of view. However, my point of view is only my point of view. It's no one else. I don't know anyone else that really has this point of view. So to me, if you're a capitalist, not really on the left. And I still am, to some extent, a capitalist. I'd say about 30% of me is capitalist. Yeah, I don't like it. Yeah, I could end it. I mean, I could, live in much less luxurious circumstances. I could, but I choose not to. I mean, look at those guitars I got up there. I love the guitars, man. I'm sorry, they're prized possessions, and I've got some very unique and interesting ones. So as far as that goes, I have my hobbies, and I have my home, and I have the cats, or rather the cats allow me to provide them with the greatest of human to feline luxury. That's what they do. Yeah. So this is what I do. As far as politics go, you know what? Bernie is actually to the right of what I want. I mean, I like Bernie because he at least is a big part of what the agenda that I have from my perspective, which is, you know what? Here's the thing. Private schools, you can have them if you fund them. They don't deserve any public vouchers. All the public, our money, our tax dollars should take care of the public schools. And the public schools should be a priority. If we need to borrow 20% of national defense to take care of education, then we better do it, and we better do it today. And I believe in it, and I know that when people educate and they learn how to educate themselves. Now, some people never have to go to a higher learning institution because they've learned, I think you used to call it autoconfidence, whatever, they educate themselves more so than school does. And so they become extremely well informed and educated without pieces of paper. And I see people like that. I see quite a few people like that. I know people like that. And I hope if you don't want to go to school, do that. If you want to have, informational, you want to be in on the information that's out there and develop your own unique opinion or share opinions or whatever. So you can voice who you are. And see, the problem with Trump is people are under the mistaken impression he's a strong leader. He's not a strong leader. He would have never done what he's done. He would have never done that. The Russians, he would have ignored them, got elected, and then maybe tried to work some deals with them over the table. I don't go for that either. I don't think we should allow that, but I think that he would have been better off for his future if he had done it. But he's not adept that way. He's crashed and burned way too many companies, and he's burned all of his bridges, and he's painted himself into corner. He's painted himself into a corner this time legally, I think. I hope so. He needs to go away. I don't care whether he just drops out of the limelight and loses all his money, or actually I'd prefer it if he did go to prison. That would be great. And he can run for office in prison, yeah, just like Eugene Debs did. Only Debs was a vastly different individual than the puss bag. Well, I hope you all have a great weekend coming up. It's Labor Day weekend. It's time for us old socialists to celebrate. Okay, I say that, but I'm not a very good socialist. At any rate, it's a good time to celebrate labor. I mean, even if you're a salesperson, even if you're a front office person, you're still part of labor. You're still a worker. Remember that. And that's a great thing to be and to identify as in a general sense of unity. It's excellent to feel like and act like you're a worker and to share solidarity and common cause with other workers. So there we are. And I hope that can be your reality. We just have to keep cleaning the toxic ideologies out. Sadly, a lot of people, are out on the bad side of this. Now, it was always there. This is my final thought. All this thinking was already there. It was always there, and there were those that were teetering towards the brink of it as well. And so when they got this guy they could believe in, who is just so obviously one of the biggest con men, lying fat pieces of an orange puss bag. When it's so obvious, and people don't get it because they want to believe in this guy and they want to have this great leader to take care of them, Big Daddy. And then a lot of these people are the ones that preach, yes, you got to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps and be completely responsible and serve others. Bullshit. They would never vote for him. They voted for him because he cut taxes. Yeah. And they thought he was going to open greater business opportunities which would benefit them. And people who don't have businesses, who are workers, got buffaloed into thinking that was going to trickle down. It trickled down all right, just like the bullshit that came out of Ronald Reagan's mouth. Enough out of me. Well, this is fun. The music's great. For me, it's the weekend. I'll be off till Tuesday, and I hope that we'll meet up again before then. Ha 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 ha.